Now, the Trump administration is moving to destroy net neutrality rules because apparently destroying your online privacy wasn't far enough. That was, of course, something that Donald Trump had also previously signed. So, again, being able to get rid of your privacy rules and using it, basically your private information, your browsing history, and allowing these ISPs to sell that to third-party advertisers so they can inundate you with ads. Again, that wasn't bad enough. Now he's actually after your net neutrality rules. Now, the Huffington Post ran an article last week where it talked about the Trump administration's new focus on basically killing net neutrality rules. Now, those rules approved by the FCC back in 2015 aim to preserve the free and open internet and to ensure that it could not be divided into pay-to-play fast lanes for web and media companies that can afford to, and slow lanes for everyone else. Everyone else, including me. So, since, of course, there are a lot of media outlets, operations, especially on YouTube and other smaller outlets, that can't afford fast lanes for our content. You know, if you own a website and you want to compete with Amazon or Google or whatever, and you don't have net neutrality rules, and they decide, these ISPs decide, well, we're going to throttle you unless you pay our ransom. Well, if you can't afford that ransom, your site runs slower. Your competitor's site will not run slower if they have the money to pay that, which, of course, if it's Google, Netflix, Facebook, whatever, they can afford that. Their content will be faster. So, and of course, speed is everything on the internet. If your web page takes 9 years to load, even if it's got great content on it, people ain't going to stick around. At least not new people. They're not going to come. They're not going to check out your stuff. They're not going to buy things from your homemade store. Oh, you know, they're just going to go. They're going to go to the competitor. And that's unfortunate. And that, of course, gives a giant advantage to corporations. So, again, disaster. Now, in a news conference, a recent news conference, Sean Spicer mentioned the net neutrality rules affecting telecommunications and cable services and said that the Obama administration had reclassified them as common carriers, which is true. Mr. Spicer said that President Trump had pledged to reverse this overreach. The Obama-era rules, Mr. Spicer said, were an example of bureaucrats in Washington placing restrictions on one kind of company, internet service suppliers, and picking, quote, winners and losers. No, you know who will be picking winners and losers without net neutrality rules? Your ISP, when they throttle content creators who cannot pay this online ransom. Again, this is like a toll system. You got to pay to get on the highway. You can't pay, you're going the slow lane. Sad day for you. Now, Mr. Spicer also remarked on the rollback of privacy rules before he spoke more broadly about regulations on broadband internet services. President Trump, he said, will continue to fight Washington red tape that stifles American innovation, job creation, and economic growth. No, you know it's going to stifle job creation, innovation, and economic growth? The fact that these small startups can be throttled by their ISP. Again, a lot of business happens online now. It's not so much brick and mortar. You've got more internet online-based businesses popping up. If they cannot afford for their to pay their ISP for faster lane access, while their bigger competitors can, they are at a disadvantage. They can't afford it. They're going to go out of business, or it's going to be much, much more difficult. So, again, that might actually lead to the deaths of certain small businesses. Now, of course, what I can say for 100% certainly is that Ajit Pai, well, once he became the FCC chairman, we saw this coming. We knew it was happening. We knew it was going to happen soon. And now they're starting to look at this. They're starting to target this. They're starting to say, hey, man, you know what? Let's get rid of those pesky net neutrality rules. Doesn't matter that over 1 million people signed petitions to have FCC Chairman Tom Wheeler in the Obama administration. Because I remember back in this fight, I was going against Tom Wheeler and I was saying, hey, Tom Wheeler, don't be a corporate stooge and actually go and reclassify net neutrality, reclassify these carriers, these ISPs as common carriers and protect net neutrality. You know, video after video, urging people to contact Wheeler during the contact period, where you could put in your comment and say, hey, protect net neutrality. I remember that fight. And for a while, it seemed like we actually won that fight. But now, under Ajit Pai, we're going to see a rollback of those net neutrality rules, which, again, is a disaster. So, and the other thing, too, that actually helped us during that first fight was the inclusion of large corporations. So maybe they'll still be on our side. The Googles, the Netflixes, and the Amazons, all the bigger companies against the telecommunication companies, we don't know. But if there's another comment period, I suggest still putting the pressure on. Because maybe, who knows? Ajit Pai is, of course, somebody who's represented these telecom companies. But maybe if there is enough pressure, we could bring it to bear against them, and they might change their tune. Maybe. As far as I know, that seems to be the only way that we could possibly stop the net neutrality rules from being absolutely eliminated. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.